YouTube, and welcome to this episode of the Gunman Raw. So today we're going to be doing the Basecoat stage on this Ford Territory. This has been actually a pretty big job for me. I've been on it all day. I actually started on it, I think I got a couple of hours into it yesterday as well. Yeah, just for whatever reason it's taken forever, because these parts here, they're all original parts off the car, and yeah, there was like stone chips all through them, and the other side, like there's lots of them too. So we've got lots of door handles, mirrors, and sill covers, and all those little fiddly parts. They do tend to take a little bit of time to prep up. Now, you might be wondering why I'm not blending that guard. Well, that's because the colour on the guard was not very good. This whole side has been done before. Someone's painted it before, and the colour that was on there was bad, and my colour was actually better. So, as you can see there, the colour's covering really nice because I used the right shade primer. I used a dark primer. That's something that PPG don't necessarily recommend. They don't even really have a proper standable dark primer in Envirobase, which is bizarre. But the Basecoat PPG Envirobase as usual, and I've actually been thinning it down at 20%, sorry. So the recommended thinning ratio for this on the computer is 15%, but I've been putting 20% in, and I don't know, it just seems to go on a little bit nicer. But in changing the viscosity, I've found that you don't need to spray your first coat with such high pressure. So you may have noticed that I'm only running at like 20 psi for this first coat. So actually, I run 20 psi for my first and second coat, but I do wind the fluid in half a turn between the first and second. So you're still going for coverage on your first coat. You really still do want to get a nice amount of coverage, but obviously having the correct shade of primer really does help that. I just find getting that correct shade of primer, that's why I didn't have to go so heavy. If I was going over that light primer, I would have gone a lot heavier. So yeah, you're saving paint. Having the right shade of primer saves the expensive part, which is your colour, and putting less on dries quicker. And I've also found it just, I don't know, you do definitely stay clear as well. Somebody left that in a comment recently, like, he goes, yeah, that's something that the paint manufacturers don't want you to know. Using your viscosity cup actually does save you material. Well, technically you don't need to use a viscosity cup, you just need to get the viscosity right. You know, you don't actually need to use that cup. But I did use it on this job here, and the viscosity on this base coat is 30 seconds. So it's still a little bit thicker than what they recommend on their data sheet. So the data sheet recommends 23 to 26 seconds, but their recommended thinning ratio is 15% for metallic. So that doesn't even make sense, because at 15% you're looking at like 40 seconds. So just a strange thing. PPG can be a little bit strange at times, but I'm slowly getting there. I'm getting there. I've been using it for like nearly 6 months now. I'm slowly mastering it. It's been good actually, I must admit. I've actually had fun. It's like, I don't know, I enjoy sort of the challenge of I don't know, mastering something, you know, like it's a good sense of achievement. Look, it's definitely not as good as keeping, as stand-up, you know, as the Axelka system, but it's serviceable. It's not that bad. Yeah, it's definitely a bit slower. It takes a bit longer to apply. The colours aren't as good. I could keep listing them off, but I'm not here to shit on that. I'm not here to bash it. It's just I don't think it's quite as good. I'm going to flick that cam off while I dry that, and I'll see you here for the second coat. Righty guys, back to it. I'm just finishing off the last of this small pot on these little parts here. I actually forgot to wind that fluid in half the time. There we go, that's the last of that. So what did I mix up? 1.3 litres for this job here. So that's including reducer. That's ready to use, RFU. Yeah, 22, so that's it. I don't know, it just sounded a bit lower. Tripping balls, mate. My mind's on my dinner tonight, man. I'm not thinking about the job. I'm thinking about going and eating those ramen noodles tonight. Woo! That's one thing that I love about Melbourne, man. I swear, this city, mate, has probably got the world's best food. Like some of the world's best restaurants. I'm going off the sample size of like 3, the 3 big cities I've ever been to. No, but on a serious note, like Melbourne food is actually really good. I think it is. It would be interesting to see what like one of those foodies or whatever they call them, you know, the people that get right into their food. But it would be interesting to see how they rank Melbourne in general, you know. But I think we've got really good pizza here, and I mean, yeah, like just a lot of the Asian restaurants seem to be good too. But what would I know, mate? I'm just a spray painter. I'm not even hungry, I'm just looking forward to my dinner. It's Friday night, and I'm going to see my family tomorrow. Woohoo! That's another good thing about being back in Melbourne. I can catch up with my family. It's actually the main reason I came back here. Also may have noticed that now that I've been putting 20% reducer in with the Basecoat, I've actually been doing the 2 coats over my edges. So you may remember previously I would just do 1 coat of Basecoat over the edges just because it was a little bit thicker. I mean, I probably could get away with 1 coat over the edges, but it only takes an extra little second or two to go over the edges twice. For a bit of peace of mind, the last thing you want is like a little bit of primer showing through, you know. So again, I think I might split this video into 2 and we'll do a separate clear coat video. What gun should I be using? What gun should I use to clear? I've been having a lot of fun with that supernova lately. I managed to tame the beast, mate. I had some issues with that gun and getting runs and all that with it. But recently I've actually finally nailed it. How to slow it down a bit and just stop it from using so much material. And the main thing was just to turn the pressure down, which makes sense. But again, I'm going to turn that cam off and I'll see you guys soon when we're ready for the last coat of base coat. Righto guys, time for our last coat. That was literally like 2 minutes I stood there with the blower for. So again, turn that fluid in, half a turn, and this time we will actually drop the pressure down. So that's about 15 psi, halfway between 10 and 20. Just hold the gun back. I've mentioned that in previous videos, but I don't know, there just seems to be a right distance for each pressure setting, if you know what I mean. Like, and that is just, I don't know, I guess I like to hit the panel. I like the fan to hit the panel at full fan, if that makes sense. And full fan will change depending on your pressure. So, as I say, when you turn your pressure up, the fan will get full earlier. So you need to hold the gun closer, if that makes sense. Interesting to see how the silvers and these metallics go with that little bit more reducer in it. Be interesting to see some easier or harder to control the muscle. Well, this colour here it's got a lot of the effect additive in it, so although it might not be the lightest metallic, it does actually have a lot of the effect additive. And I found any colours with those effect additives, specifically in EnviroBase, they'll be more prone to mottle up on you. So this last coat, we're not going to need to spray the edges, so I'm happy we've got coverage. This last coat really is just more for the effect as much as anything, and your insurance policy, just to make sure you are covered, you know. That's always been my rule of thumb. Get it covered and then put another coat on with your colour anyway. But that's just about wrapping up this video there, guys. I'm going to leave it at that and then tune in tomorrow for the clear coat video. I still don't know which gun I'm going to use. I don't know, I'm thinking I might even go with the DV1 1.3. I've been enjoying using that. Well, I don't think I've actually used it this week, but up until last week I was having fun using it. I've actually used the Lotus, the Supernova all week this week, but you'll just have to wait till tomorrow and find out which gun I'm using. I thought I'd give you guys just a quick look over it once it's all dried down, because before it was still wet and you can't really get an idea of what it looks like. So yeah, after drying that base coat down, you can see it looks quite nice. And as much as I do sort of criticize the PPG EnviroBase sometimes, don't get me wrong, I do know there's definitely some strong points in it, and I was just reminded of one of them just then. So after I dried it down, I could just very so slightly see a very faint sanding scratch in there, and all I did was just dust another half of a coat over that area and it disappeared. Now if that was Standox, yeah, it turns into a bit of a disaster. You really got to get it right the first time. But anyway, that's it for a video, guys. Hope you did enjoy. Be sure to leave a thumbs up if you did, and go and follow me on all the alternate media sites. In the links are in the description. Support the show by buying some merchandise, and until next time, get out there and paint some shit. Gunman out.